LSU head softball coach, Coach Beth Torina. Coach, what's going on? How are we feeling this morning?
We are feeling good this morning.
Hell yeah.
How about you?
Doing well. The softball team fresh off a couple of wins. And let's talk about last week in a bit because maybe not overall the result that you wanted, but some really tough, hard-fought losses in games 1 and 2. And at that point, you know, vibes are struggling a little bit. 4 losses in a row is a precarious spot. Game 3 down late, and your team finds a way to get a win, stop the streak, come back and win in midweek. What did it mean to you to watch your team kind of dig their heels in that 6th inning and say, nah, not again?
Yeah, it was awesome. I think that's something they've been so good at, which was tough to see them, you know, lose the one-run games they lost before that, because they've seemed to always find a way, you know, when they're in that spot late. So I think I tell them all the time, like, of all the qualities they have, and they have a ton, but their fight is the one that's going to take them the furthest. So it was cool to see them do that.
Coach, when you're in those moments, like, who are some of the players that you count on? Because you're right, like, they seem to always find a way. And I know you've mentioned the leadership on this team. Like, who are some of those players that made sure that you weren't going to lose that 3rd game?
What was cool is there's so many people that stepped up in some big moments, you know. I mean, Carly Petty making the big defensive play to end it, and Sid Berzon didn't get the result she wanted on Friday, but was able to come back in both games and just be outstanding, you know. Friday may have been in the top 3 most miserable weather conditions I've ever been a part of on a softball field. I don't know if you could tell watching the game, but it was brutal. The wind was so bad. So I was glad to see her be able to feel a softball again and go out and do what she's capable of doing the other 2 days. So a lot of people stepped up. Raylene Gutierrez had an incredible weekend. Kelly Lynch is so good at getting us the big clutch hit. So it was fun to see them compete and find a way to win.
Another massive series starting tonight in Tiger Park against the 11th-ranked Texas A&M Aggies. That's going to go down at 6 p.m. tonight. Tell me about Sydney Berzon, though, and her response, like you said, after the disappointment of Friday. I mean, she's been incredible this year. She's got 88 Ks in 82 innings. She's already thrown 8 complete games and just 18 appearances, a 10-1 record. I mean, the numbers are mind-boggling. How did she kind of flush Friday and get ready to come back on Sunday?
Yeah, it was tough going out and making a change to pull Sydney Berzon off the mound. It's not something I've done a lot this year, you know. She's just so special and has so many different ways to make adjustments, but it wasn't her day Friday, and that's pitching. You know, unfortunately, I'd love to say we've got our best stuff every time we take the mound, but that's just not real, you know. But it was so cool to see her come back and I thought Saturday may have been the best she's ever executed her stuff in the whole time we've had her. So it was so cool to see her have that mentality to be able to bounce back. And I mean, remember, she's like the lone sophomore out there, you know?
Yeah.
She's only a sophomore and she's doing those really cool things. So I was really proud of that effort.
Coach, we talked last week, you didn't have a midweek game because you had a game against Ole Miss on Monday, obviously, so the schedule looked a little bit different. This week you were able to have that midweek game in between these SEC series. You go out there against Nichols and you win 10-2. Like, what can a win like that do for your team, like, heading into this SEC game? Because we talk about it all the time in baseball as well. Sometimes when you have disappointment, but you get the last game there in Como, you get a little bit of juices back flowing your way, and then you come in the midweek and win like that before you play A&M.
I do think it was huge. And I'm not just talking about like the free Hooters wings that they fed the team after the game, although that was cool. And no, the girls did not serve it, you guys. So, but
I love Hooters wings, whatever that's worth.
But I thought Nichols is a really quality opponent. They're having a good year. They have, you know, good pitching. So I think to go out and do what we did there was a real confidence boost for our team. And you know, some Maddox McKee, our freshman, had a huge game. We had some people do some really cool things. Sierra Briggs just smokes the ball over the fence. So it was nice to see them kind of get going again. Not to mention we got to face a left-hander, and we have a big left-hander coming to Tiger Park this weekend. So I think that was really good too.
And Coach, you mentioned come to Tiger Park. This Texas A&M team is interesting to me. A very good conference record, 8-1 right now, including being 5-2 on the road as a whole, 2-1 in the SEC on the road. But if you look at, like, statistically, there seem to be some disparities. I mean, you currently have 5 players batting over 350. I think Allie Enright actually leads A&M with like a 321 batting average. What is the tale of the tape on the Aggies this year and how they found that 8-1 conference record?
I would say they're a team that kind of lives and dies by the long ball. So they have some speed players that will really set the table for them. They run all over the place, and they do that well. But their biggest part of their game, I would say, is they live and die by the long ball. So they're not looking to go 3 for 3 off you, although I'm sure they'd be happy about it. But they're looking for that one big swing. And hopefully that plays well in Tiger Park. Our park plays pretty big, so hopefully that is in our favor this weekend.
Does that change your approach on the mound at all when you have a team? And I know that's kind of the modern baseball philosophy at the highest level is that, that big result of your strikeout, home run, whatever. But does that change your approach defensively or on the mound?
Yeah, I think we're pretty, you know how we are in our scouts. We're pretty good about putting our defense in the right places and really being careful about where we're positioning and how we're pitching people. But ultimately, our pitchers are pretty much just trying to always get outs. So we are hoping to just continue getting some outs this weekend with their big offense. And, the middle of their lineup swings big. Like I said, they really, really run well in the top. So it'll be a big challenge. And then a 70-mile-an-hour plus left-handed arm on the mound. It's going to be a big challenge.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my next question, was to go back to the lefty. It's not something you see very often. And I'm sitting here trying to think, if I remember during my time watching LSU softball, like if I can come up with some lefties, and it's hard to do. So how difficult is that, Coach, to be able, what are some things maybe that you'll do leading into that matchup to try to get your team ready?
Well, I know you can come up with Monica Abbott, right?
Yeah, but I'm trying to think of like three or four, and it's like you can come up with 3 or 4 pitchers in baseball, but you 3 or 4 softball, it's how rare is that?
Yeah, and with our whole left-handed lineup, it'll be interesting how we approach that and attack it. I know they worked on having a great plan for it yesterday, and I'm confident they will. But it's definitely going to be a challenge. 70-plus is big for anybody, and then coming from the left side is rare. So we're lucky we have Lucas Gardner, who's a left-handed BP arm that we can use, and he was thrown to us yesterday, and we had him pretty close. So we're trying to get ready for that velocity. But I don't know if there's really any great way to prepare for it. But if there is, I know Howard and Bryce and Sandra have found it, and we will be ready.
Well, Coach, if for some reason you need another arm, there's a guy sitting next to me who's a lefty. I've seen him throw a pitch at Tiger Park, lefty. Now, it didn't make it to the plate, but he can get better. I promise. There's potential there.
That is so true. Maybe we can put him 2 feet out in front of the plate and, let him flip it in there, and then it'll be,
Y'all got jokes. Okay.
It'll simulate that 70-mile-an-hour velocity.
That's right.
Relax.
I'm not sure he can hold us.
Relax. Okay, that's okay. Okay. I have 9 inches.
Yeah, I don't know if we're ready for that level either. We've still got to, grow up a little bit around here. We're not ready for that yet.
Everybody
we'll
relax. Look, Coach, you focus in. Big game tonight, okay? Don't fall into Jake shenanigans here. It's going to be a massive weekend at Tiger Park. Number 6 versus number 11. LSU versus A&M. It gets underway tonight at 6 p.m., tomorrow 5 p.m., Saturday at 2 p.m. And, of course, you can catch all those games on the SC Network. Coach Torina, thank you so much for waking up with us this morning, and best of luck over the Easter weekend.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, you guys.